up. There's absolutely nothing the matter with it. They're just open enough to look and express the way they want to, which is fine. Everybody has that right to do that. But society is looking at it in a way where it's a little bit more outrageous, so that it's going to be looked upon that way.
Right. I'm still not sure how do you feel about it?
Well, I'd like...
Wait a minute.
I work in a bank, and as a matter of fact, yesterday I was told that I couldn't wear pants that came to the ankle, which is like a new style too, because it wasn't good for business. Now, if I...
You mean like a harem cut?
No, pants that like come, like, not too, like, above the ankle.
Oh, I see. That expose like a boot or a shoe.
Right, and it's not right. And
you have to wear trousers or pants that go all the way to the ankle.
Right, business-like.
Bankers said that, did they?
Yes, they did.
See, they think this is ridiculous.
But it's not. They've got a right point.
They want to know why some blue suit is able to tell you how long your pants should be.
Because that's the way it is. It's the way business and things have gone that way. I don't think there's anything the matter with that. I think it's fine. But people are going to look at you and they're going to think something different, and it's not going to be what it should be.
Right. Oh, okay. That's a very practical diagnosis of what is, in fact, the norm. I've got to run, but how long have you been drug-free?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, since I found out I was pregnant, I stopped drinking, stopped smoking, and stopped smoking marijuana.
And how old is your oldest baby?
2 years old.
How much?
2. Well, she'll be 3 in a couple months.
And you have a younger one than that?
Yes.
Really? Do you jog or knit or do anything?
Yes, I jog, I jog, I climb rocks, I ride horses.
Yeah. What are you going to do today?
What am I going to do today? If it clears up, I'll probably go out to the playground with my kids.
Right. I assume that if your daughter came home at age... Is it a daughter, your oldest?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters.
Okay, if they came home at age 14 or whatever it might be, with yellow hair and a pink ponytail and, you know what I mean, purple, would you be upset?
No, if they had the guts to do it, I'd let them do it.
Well, that's a really good point.
I mean, I kind of look at it this way. You know, you see policemen out there.
Hang on just a moment. Yeah, Charles.
It takes a lot of courage to look this way, and that's a very important lesson in democracy, to be able to stand up for your beliefs. I mean, this is training for courage.
And I've got a break. I'm glad you called. Kiss the kids. We'll be back in just a moment. Punk movement. Punkers, what are they? What is their point? Is it possible to distill whatever it is that they're saying to one sentence? Probably not, but it's here, and you've all been certainly passed on the street by a young person, and as Miss Dank has told us, increasingly not so young people who have chosen to dress this way. Yes?
I just think that we should all get along. What's the difference how we look?
You think our reaction to it gives us away a little bit, do you? We're worried too much about it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Worried too much about the wrong thing?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I mean, if you were my daughter, I'd want you to have a dress and ribbons, right?
Sometimes.
Every father wants a pink dress and bows on their little girls.
And that's wrong because?
It's not wrong, but, you know, why? Why should,
I'm sorry?
That's your taste.
Which is, what, pretty old-fashioned and outdated, huh?
No, I woun't say that. It's just your taste. It's just different.
Right, and my daughter should have the freedom to choose.
That's right.
That's not really
pink dress is a great
Honestly, I think the thing is, like, everybody here does not represent everybody. We all, represent ourselves, right? And personally, I don't really care if I offend people or not. I find the society quite a bit more offensive to me. And people who think that things are fine, whether they, with the invasions they do, or all those things, or this obnoxious MTV, people, to me, have to defend that. I don't have to defend myself.
MTV is obnoxious?
I think most of the stuff is pretty trashy. There's a lot of stuff that degrades women. Most of the music is pretty formula.
That's true. There is an awful lot of...
I'm a musician myself. I play in a band myself, and I think, I do it because I want to appeal to people who are looking for something new, who are disgusted and dissatisfied for whatever reason they are and want something new. Yeah. And if people, I don't...
Are you always a political, what do I want to... Were you always verbal in school? Were you the guy with his hand up in civics class?
Not all the time.
No.
Sometimes. I mean,
But school, you survived school. It wasn't a...
I survived it, yeah.
That's about all?
That's about all.
Okay, something I wanted to say is when Miss Dank was talking about how, one of her clients were beaten up by 15 punks, okay, I've been beat up by 15 jocks, I've been beat up by,
A jock is what? A basic American athlete, male?
Okay, you can't classify things like that with punks. She says, she saw, punks in the corner throwing sticks. Haven't you ever seen other people being obnoxious? I mean, punks are people.
You don't want to be held responsible for what someone who has a funny haircut might do to her.
There's going to be a negative element, there's going to be a positive element, there's going to be an element that doesn't, care. That's, life, we're people.
See, one thing, too, is, you're talking about the age of people here. Well, I called up 40 people. I found out about this at the last minute. I call all these kids who go to these hall shows who are 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and in high school, and they don't all look like everybody here looks, or me or anybody else. Some of them just have regular hair, what people out there would consider regular hair, probably because their parents would kill them.
Yeah. Mrs. Morrissey, how do you feel about what's going on here? You're listening now. You're a woman who's lived this thing. You've already established for us that your daughter, Dareth, 2 years ago, showed up as a punker, and it really, really broke your heart. You've also established that you've been with Serena Dank and joined parents of punkers, so that you've grown a little in the sense that you feel you're understanding your daughter a little more, and apparently we've got a relationship here which is starting to heal. Is that so?
Yes, the stress factor in our life is possibly 85% better than what it was. Yeah. I mean, Serena called me a complete basket case when I went to her.
How do you feel about what's transpiring here?
Well, they have a right to their opinion, but it's still very difficult to accept.
Yeah.
How are they? What is their future?
I go to school, I have a job. I go to school, I have a job. I'm responsible, I'm great.
Let me tell you something.
I suspect people who say, let me tell you something. That's what they say in Washington. So, all right, watch your righteousness.
Well, anyway, I have a BA in international politics. I got a BA in Paris at Schiller University. I think the future of this is the same as the future of the world. It's only political because we have the freedom to choose. We have certain inalienable rights, and we are human beings, and we're going to do what we want. I have a question for you. Sure. I think you're bored. I really do. You have to get an organization together like this.
Now, why would you?
Have a lot more stress.
Excuse me. Let's you
I
and
don't have
I
a
chat.
card
Hang on
that
just
says
a minute.
I'm in parents of punkers.
Why would you? That's an insult to her.
I find it very boring. I think
But it gives away the point that you're trying to make. You want to live and let live, yet you take
I do want to live and let live, but I don't think
Do you
that
know what I
something
do?
should be
Do you
stressed.
have any idea what I do?
Well, I'll listen to you since I was talking. Go ahead.
Okay, please do. What I do is a lot of times I get the kids off the street and back home, and I bridge the gap between the adult world. Obviously, I don't look punk, but I can relate to Dareth.
Yeah, I went to a
Dareth can relate to
psychiatrist.
me.
No, we can all relate.
That's
The point
right.
of
But
making
what
it so
I do is
organizational
bring
is
the
what
kids.
Can I
rules
say
it.
something, please?
Parents for punks.
Could I say something?
I do.
Why don't you?
Why doesn't she work for all kids instead of kids with funny haircuts?
She does.
I do.
She does.
Could I say something?
I don't understand why there's hostility to her. Because why don't you let her have at least the benefit of being well motivated in her effort to help people like Mrs. Morrissey understand you? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. Why does she have to classify punks? There's a hell of a lot more kids than just punks that are messed up and need
In
help.
other words, if she can't save the whole world, she shouldn't try to save part of it.
The point is that, okay, I've seen you last time on the show, too. I've read interviews with you. I'm not entirely ignorant as to what you're about, right? Okay, so you work with Bridging the Gap and all that. On the other hand, you get up here going like, oh, God, at these shows, they have violence at these shows.
They do.
Yeah, but this society is violent, okay? There's violence in everything. You know, you go to a heavy metal show, people beat the,
But why be defensive about it? If this, you sound it. If you're not violent, fine. We're happy for you and we're glad. But you can't. It's not fair of you to suggest that we shouldn't be speaking
about violence. Maybe she should do outreach work with the U.S. Army or something, or the police force. You know.
I'd like to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
We went to a psychiatrist for 4 months, twice a week. My daughter and I went, and then my husband and I went. Punk was a costume, and to the psychiatrist. We got no help whatsoever until we found Serena.
What do you mean? You think that the costume was off-putting to the psychiatrist? Is that what you're saying?
That's what she didn't understand.
So some
punk.
people get so distracted by this that they...
They're after, she was in her little business suit and getting her whatever,
Her fee.
large sum of money for an hour, and she didn't really care. She didn't care what was happening to us. at all, you know, and I wouldn't say that it's a Parents of Punkers organization, you know. There's not really an organization. Serena sees everybody. Yeah. If it hadn't been Serena, I wouldn't be here. You know, we found her through that name.
Yeah. How do you feel about your mom?
I love her.
Do you understand her anxiety?
Mm-hmm. I could see her point of view, and I hope that she could see mine.
Okay. Do you want... You've got to promise you won't laugh at me. Do you look forward to marriage and a bungalow and a flower boxes
and a wide picket fence
and little red wagons in the driveway?
No, I don't. I don't want to be married.
2.5 kids.
Okay. You don't want to be married?
No.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Streaks and Tips Color Glow Hair Color. When exposed to light, it'll glow.
Are you there, caller?
Yes, I am.
Sir.
My question, as I'm watching the show, as the camera scans the audience, you see all these straight people, quote-unquote, or conservatives, with their permed hair and streaks, and their Vogue makeup, and their ears are only pierced ones, and those wonderful Michigan Avenue clothes. There's really no difference between those people sitting there in their iZods and those sitting on the stage. Just because they choose to color their hair, they want to put a blue streak instead of some brunette wants to put blonde streaks. Right. All of a sudden, the blue one is the oddball.
Yeah, hang on. Hang on a minute.
Sure.
Are you attacking my audience?
You better believe it. There you go, streaks.
Hang on a minute. Did you hear what he said?
I heard.
How do you feel about what he said?
I gotta tell him.
You with your lipstick and your...
That's right. All-American, 2 pierced ears. And I have darling kids that have 3 pierced in each ear. Yeah. But I am a gal that went out with Jerry Rubin, who was a Yippie leader, as we all know.
You went out as in a date with Jerry Rubin?
Yes, me and I went.
You got back okay?
You got it.
Really?
And I want to say...
What's your point? Okay.
I want to make...
You were involved then in the politics, anti-war, and all that stuff when you were...
No, I wasn't. I was an all-American, high school, good kid, and I
so
still...
you dated him before he got famous?
My mother, who can vouch for that.
Not much time.
Miss Dank, I want to say to you, I think you're doing a marvelous job because bridging the gap is communication, and that's where it's all about. You can be you, and we can be us.
Hang on a minute.
I think each one of those kids got started with a peer, and they haven't been strong enough to break away. I just think it's
the
a peer
opposite.
group.
I'm sorry, it's the opposite.
Wait a
It's the exact opposite.
I'm just curious why these people think that they're expressing some kind of social steps forward. It looks like social decadence to me.
Yeah. You understand they love it when you do that. When you bring a moral judgment, I'm not here to say you're wrong, but let's understand this. When you bring a moral judgment without knowing them against them for the way that they look, they feel that confirms the reason for their